Okay, so lots to catch up on actually, which is not new. Noelle, one of the things that I love about Noelle and that she loves about me is how spontaneous we are. Just out of the blue, we just do stuff, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. It doesn't really surprise her. We just do it. For example, Noelle was at the studio. One of the ladies that has a shop there came to her and it's like, "Hey, we have kittens. Do you want any?" Now, keep in mind that after my cat that I had before Noel, Kitty Boy, his name was Kitty, but Noel added boy at the end. When he died, he was cremated, which I know some people will be like, really? But I have his little box and everything. And it's a nice box. It was expensive, but anyway, whatever. So uh, we had another cat named Indy. His name is Indy, not for the city, but because Noel called him Indiana Jones. I thought that was the silliest name ever. So I was going to say stupidest, but I'm not going to say stupidest, but the silliest name ever. Got something in my eye. So then it was shortened to Indy because I'm like, that just sounds better than Indiana Jones. That's a big mouthful for a cat. So after that, after Kitty passed away, it was just Indy, and Noelle went and she was going to the Humane Society to get a kitten. She comes back with a full-on cat that was basically a little shy of a year old. So it's a kitten, kind of, but it's a big kitten. It's basically a full-size cat. Imagine a big old fluffy fat cat just running all over the place, knocking stuff over. And of course, Indy didn't like it too much, but after about a week or so, they started to be totally fine. Noelle goes to the studio about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and a lady's like, "Hey, I have kittens. You want one?" So Noelle's like, "Can we bring it home?" And I'm like, "I'm not saying anything. I'm not taking care of the thing. I'm not doing it. I got a lot on my plate. But I was like, he is kind of cute, thinking to myself, like, I hope she does, keep it. So she brought home a little kitten, and he's just been a little bully. Indy hates him still. And the other cat, Emerald, is her name, or Emerald with an L. I don't like that name either. I call her Mittens because of her paws. And Noelle named this cat, uh, what is his name? Leo, for Leonardo da Vinci. It's Noel. But anyway, you guys don't really care. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Of course, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Definitely do the subscribe part. We need to boost up these numbers. Come on. The drive-by watching is, that's cool, but we need for folks to actually subscribe. Okay? But this video is talking about the crowding situation in downtown Tacoma. What are some of the solutions? Now, speaking of spontaneous, Noelle and I went and bought scooters. Yeah, pretty spontaneous. And I'm not talking like just the little scooters that you've seen, like the bird scooters. No. I'm talking an actual scooter that requires a helmet. And if you're on our Discord, you'd see photos of the scooter that Noelle has, and I drive a hard bargain. The owner of the place South Sound Scooters, which this is not, they didn't pay me to do this, Mark. Mark's my new buddy. He owns South Sound Scooters. Mark. But anyhow, I go there and, I stop in and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like I've always, as a kid, wanted a four-wheeler. My mama wouldn't let me do it. Got older, I'm like, cool car, I need a car. Because all the cities I lived in were massive cities. Until you come to Tacoma. Tacoma is still pretty decently sized. However, downtown is packed. And one of the big phenomenons in this area, especially in places like Portland, especially. Portland is always on the trend of new, unique, quirky things, trendy things, more so than Seattle. And so that type of thing bleeds up here. We see a lot of the same things that they do down in Portland, they do here in Tacoma, and I love it. And so scootering is one of those things. Now, keep in mind, Noelle's sister, who came out here and visited us, she has a scooter. And her husband has a scooter. And so they have their own little scooter group that they started. At first, it was just them two. And then their friends got involved. And so they bought their own scooters. And then other people. So there's a few, about 10 or 12 people that she's convinced to buy scooters. We went there and got, so Noelle's scooter is available now. We're going to go and pick it up today. They had to, it was so brand new, it had 0 miles on it. They have to test it in their little backyard track that they have tested out, make sure it's, you know, everything is the way it's supposed to be. I was able to, pick out that one and say that's a pretty good one. But Noelle came and said, I like this one. Now, the one I wanted is a little bit different. It's the both of these are Vespas. She got the, wait, hold on a second. Let's see here. Hold on. I'll tell you what she got. Okay, so she got the Vespa Primavera. Okay. And I got the Vespa Sprint. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Hold on a second. I want to make sure I'm not. Yes, I got the Vespa Sprint. And the only difference in the Vespa Sprint versus the Primavera is just the style. The headlights a little different, all of that, right? She's got more of the round shape for the light, and then I got kind of the more angular shape. And what's funny is her sister also has the Primavera, and her sister's husband, has the Sprint. I didn't know that. So I just picked it because I'm like, I'd rather have that, right? So we got these 2 scooters. Well, Noelle's here, we're picking it up. Mine, they have to order in. It's coming early May. The reason why I'm doing this is because I dropped a video today that's talking about some of the things that I'm doing on Telefusin Plaza. And one of those things, I don't know. There's Noelle and her sisters. We're in a group chat. So, what was I saying? I was too busy seeing what they were saying. But anyway, the food truck thing that I'm doing down there, along with other things, I'm going to have to be able to move around downtown and not have to worry about parking as much or any of those types of things, right? Downtown, and the reason why I'm doing this video is, one, to talk about the fact that we got the scooters and all this, and they're not that expensive. For people who don't want to own a car and they want to be able to just, and keep in mind, in Washington State, and I don't know all the legalities as well as Oregon, as long as your motor engine or your engine is 50 cc or less, so basically 49.99 or less, then you're good. The Vespa 50, which is what we got, both of them, you're totally fine. Driver's license is all you need. So you need a DOT helmet, which they have there at the shop, at this place. This is, by the way, this is Washington State's only authorized Vespa dealership, I believe. The only one. So that shows you that, for one, what's cool about that is Tacoma's on the cutting edge of a lot of cool things, being the first. And for two, that we're becoming much more of a denser city. And that's one of the reasons why Mark decided to put the scooter shop here in downtown Tacoma. Now, I may do an interview with Mark and go into more detail. He's the owner there. But it makes good sense, because when you think about The difficulties of parking, finding places to park, all of those types of things, navigating, it becomes difficult. Sure, when you have those small scooters like Bird and some of these others, and some people have their own private little scooters that are, the little foot powered things, they're great for the last mile, right? Or what have you, bicycles, the last 3 to 5 miles, something like that. Those little scooters are great for the last mile. And so a lot of times people can zip and do whatever they need to do. So if you live in the Dome District, for example, you can easily go into downtown, no problem. And you probably can head over to the grocery store right there in the Stadium District, right? But sometimes you want to be able to go a little bit further and be a little bit safer. This is one of those options where if you are a downtown living person, you don't even have to live, because we don't live downtown, but I'll go into the details a little bit more. When you live downtown, you're able to actually take something like this and go all the way out to the zoo if you wanted to, right? The big thing is these can top out at about 40 miles an hour at the most. And so that when you're in a city, a very urban environment, you're not going to have speeds faster than that. Yeah, people do drive faster than that in many instances, but we're really just a bunch of neighborhoods in Tacoma. Same thing with Seattle. So it makes good sense to have something that's tiny that can easily do what it needs to do. So you see big cities like Chicago, New York, people have these and they're easy to navigate through those crowded cities. We don't have density like that, but it is to a point of where it's a lot easier to take something so small and nimble where you can move and meander about. This will allow me to get onto the plaza pretty easily because there's all these little bars that you can't parking, I forget what they're called. You're not able to drive a vehicle up there until you're able to put the code in and lift them up. Well, with this, I can just drive right onto the plaza, get out of street traffic, because before I have a big SUV. The SUV or the car that we have, where am I going to park? There's construction going on all over downtown, and I'll talk about that. So this makes it a great option. Also, I will be able to take this indoors. So you can leave it outside. They're designed to stay outside, but I'm going to take mine indoors when I'm downtown and put it wherever I need to put it, and then boom, I'm gone and I'm ready to do what I got to do. On days when it's raining, that's a little bit different. I may not necessarily drive it, but we'll see. It can operate in the rain, no problem. I live about 3 miles from downtown. All of the things we need are within 3 miles. So 3 miles from here, I can go do some of the things I want to do. It's on higher frequency roads, but 3 miles that way is downtown. So for us, it makes good sense. Now for Noelle's sister who lives in Columbus, it makes good sense because, again, you're talking about a big city, not nearly as dense as what we have here in Tacoma. So it's a little more riskier because traffic is a little bit more faster, I feel. Here, there's no way you can drive as fast. It's too dense, and it's getting denser by the day. There's a certain area that you can go in Tacoma and look up and you just see nothing but sky cranes. I've seen it a lot in Seattle, and you still do see it a lot there. But here you see a few just popping up everywhere in terms of just the amount of development and growth. So much so, the density is becoming such a concern that a lot of the plumbing, the utilities, the sewer lines are not able to handle all of the growth. So when you see all of the construction of just tearing up the road, and it's like, what? It's because the sewer lines are not capable of handling the flow, literally. So the utilities are being upgraded downtown throughout because all these big giant projects, Trent Development, huge project. So that by itself is going to create, and a reason why I say the scooters are a good idea is because parking is going to be more and more of a concern. As developers finish all these projects, we're talking 4,000 units, that's 8,000 people at least. And you have to figure out what's going to happen to all those cars that need to be parked. Parking will become more of a concern downtown, no question. I will say this. If you do get a scooter, do not park in the park like where cars park, where it's a fee, because you still have to pay. So anywhere there's a pay where you have to pay for parking, you have to pay. Now, if you pull into a parking space, because Noelle and I were going to have our own separate scooters, If we both pull into the parking space and I get a parking pass for myself and stick it on my bike, Noel will get a ticket. So everybody, if you park 1, 3, or 15, you have to get that many number of parking stickers and put them on the bike, because otherwise somebody's going to get a ticket. That's one of the things that he was like, here's a little tip. So those are things. But I would say a scooter would be your best bet if you live within 3 to 5 miles of downtown. Beyond that, it gets a little crazy. But really, to be honest with you, everything in Tacoma is about 5 miles. So no matter what, I think, if I'm counting it correctly, all of the city is, if you go from north to south, it's 5 miles, no matter what you do. East to west, the city is much broader, so it's a little bit different. But again, with all of we have a lot of neighborhoods and a lot of just regular small streets that you could still, no matter where you live in Tacoma, it makes good sense. Now, when you start going out to the suburbs like Spanaway and Puyallup and all of those, it doesn't work. I mean, you could, but it's not as good with this, because it's only going to top out at, like I said, 40 miles an hour. The 150, the one up higher than that, can go much faster. It looks exactly the same, but it can go much faster, and then therefore that's a little different. But with these, you fill it up. I think they hold maybe 2 gallons or so, and it will last 100 and something miles. So with gas being so expensive, this is another thing. Someone goes, fill up their little Vespa, they do all the things they need to do, and it's rare that you would even have to go and fill up. There's enough gas stations downtown to where you can easily get to where you got to get to and fill them up. Now, one of the big things is, are you able to put a bunch of groceries on? No, you're not able to. But you do have these areas where you can actually put groceries on it. They have like little hooks in there. There's one that comes out on the seat. One of the other things that is a Vespa scooter, if you can't afford a Vespa, which they're about 50, depends on what you get. But ours are about, mine I think is going to be about 6,000. Noel's was 56,000. 56,000. Noel's is about 5,600. Mine's about 6,000 or so, because mine is going to be a little bit more expensive, and it's just a little different. But you can get the other option, which is Piaggio. Piaggio is also a Vespa. They're all the same. The difference is Vespas are metal bodied, and the Piaggios are more of a fiberglass body. So the Piaggio is going to be lighter, has bigger wheels than the Vespa. The Vespa is going to be a little bit heavier. They still got the same engine. You'll probably get a little bit farther with the Primavera because the bigger wheels, but mainly the biggish, and it helps you with the bumps, and we have a lot of divots in our city in terms of the road. But the big thing is it's lighter, so you can go a little bit farther than what you're going to do on the Vespa. Not a tremendous amount, but you can go farther. And they're a lot cheaper, right? So if you can't afford a Vespa, you probably can easily afford a Piaggio. So the prices go down a little bit more. You're still getting a quality product, and you're able to finance it. So if you're not able to buy it out, you can finance it, and I'm sure it's less than $100 a month. So really, not a lot of money. For people who live downtown, a lot of the micro units which are going in, or just regular apartments, people are like, I don't want to buy a car. I don't want to have to deal with that. All of the things I need to do are right down here. So as downtown becomes more of a destination and a place where people live, reside, work, play, do most 98% of the things they do are downtown, then these are going to become something that is super vital. We have very narrow streets to begin with, parking all over the place. It's going to be more and more of a concern. So especially students. I would say for students, this is a great option. If you can't afford brand new, because both of ours are 22s, if you can't afford brand new, they do have used. And Vespas hold their price, he was saying. Mark was saying Vespas hold their price. He's got 2 older ones sitting up on top of the thing, and they hold their price. They hold their value. Most people will say, yeah, there's all these other types of brands, but they're like not interested. And so they go for this. And so I can see why. It's a good alternative. It's small. It's I think 275 pounds is what we have in weight. I think the Primavera is 175 pounds. So you're getting an extra 100 pounds or so or less, give or take, on the Vespa. But with all that said, and the randomness of buying scooters, can it handle the hills? Yes, it can handle the hills. You gotta keep the throttle on. However, in Tacoma, you can meander around the hills. There's ways. You have to plan your course. Some of these hills are gargantuan, but there's ways to easily navigate through downtown. You may have to, if the light rail train can do it, because it can only do a grade of 3%, then you're able to do it. You're able to meander and you have to go the long way. But again, miles are not really a concern in something like a Vespa. Not making this a commercial for Vespa or South Sound Scooter, but another developer out of Seattle is taking an existing building and converting the top floor into micro units. This is in the Dome District. Again, the Dome District, if anything, would be one of those places where you see a lot of people with scooters, because you have to go into downtown, which is not very far away, to do a lot of the things that you need to do, right? Whether you're going to the food trucks I'm bringing, whether you're going to do some of the shopping or whatever you're going to be doing and coming back to the Dome District, then this would be perfect. But the developer out of Seattle is taking the top part of a cafe, I believe, in the Dome District that's not really utilized, the top floor. And there are a few buildings in downtown Tacoma and the Dome area as well that have upper floors that aren't really utilized. They're used for storage or something. They're collecting dust. So they're going to take this and make 17 micro units. Okay? Now, I've been to that area. I don't know about the parking. Excuse me. I don't know how much parking is available. The last times I've been over there, it doesn't seem like there's a lot. And more than likely, they're going to make it where if you're going to see signs where it says cafe parking only. Let me see what the name of this project is. Hold on. I have it right here. So 17 is not a big number. Okay? 17 is not a huge number whatsoever. However, that's 17 different. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Where is it at? I'll find it here. Adding 17 units, which means 17 people to the Dome District, just keeps adding to the load that area is going to face. So let's see. Yep, micro units. The Dome has it's a transit-friendly area. And because of that, you have a lot of developers focusing right within probably 400, 500 feet of Freight House Square. Why? Because that's where all of the transit is. It's also where the Painting Panda Pottery Studio is. There's no shame in my hustle, guys. But right in that area, you have all of these different transit options to get you everywhere you need to go, mostly. So these are going to be 350 square feet, and the upper levels of the 3-story Alfred Cafe building is going to be used. Okay, it's on Puyallup Avenue. And so it's called 47 North Development, and they own the building and they're going to develop the apartments, right? So basically it's an underutilized space, 6,400 square feet. And so they're going to put in 17 of these 350 square foot spaces. The cafe will remain in its location. The building is about 10,000 square feet, but there are plans to eventually develop a 30,000 square foot multifamily on a portion of the building's parking lot as well. Now, I did see that there is an area, I was going to talk about this because I was saying that there's parking there. There is an area where there's nothing, right? There's 2 buildings. There's a parking lot there. I do remember seeing that. And I was like, well, I guess that's where people can park. But again, what about cafe parking folks? I'm sure that they would have priority. And then apartment folks can just park on the street. And it seems like right now they're going to put that 10,000 square foot building is going to stay there. But eventually the parking lot's going to be a multifamily building as well. So that get at 30,000 square, so 3 times the size of the Alfred Cafe. You're going to have a building like that right next door. What I'm basically saying is the density factor in downtown Tacoma is going to jump dramatically. The Dome District, which really didn't have any sort of residential spaces to begin with, started off with Cozy. And they put the Dome District building there, apartments filled up. Now we have all these different plants. GIS International, they're basically putting in a 115 unit apartment building right close to that area. Then you have others that are planned all along 25th Street. So the Dome area, the Dome District, is going to be very, very, very dense. Very dense. And we're only just scratching the surface. There's a project that I'm planning that is, it's not my project, I should say, but I helped with negotiations, I guess. And that would make the Dome District even more insane. Put it to you that way. So, to me, and the thing is, too, the Cozy project has 152 units. That's already done, right? So, when you look at, so here's some of the ideas of what's going to happen. You have these 17 units that are going in. You have Cozy at the Dome, which has 152 units. It's already completed and done. There are going to be 2 buildings developed by developer Bode. And all of this is going to the Dome District. I'll click on that so we can see how many of those are. The GIS International is building the 115 unit Trax building right in that area. Great Expectations is going to build a $30 million mixed use project called Cornice House right in that same area. I bring all this up because when you add up, so those 2 properties, and those projects are going to start within the next 60 to 90 days. Let's see what they offer. How many? One's going to be 141 units. It's going to take about 18 months to be completed. Let's see. The other one's going to have 165 units. Then the Cornice House, which is going to be built right in that same stretch, it's going to have 200 housing units. All on one street that's basically about 3 blocks long. That's what you're going to have developed. So the density factor is starting to really kick in, and you're starting to see that. It's to the point where a lot of people walk. When, someone said it didn't seem like downtown was that dead because they're seeing a lot more people. Because a lot of times it's just easier to walk. You're getting so many people moving in. There's so many developments going on and these are things that aren't even done yet. Only one of those I mentioned are done. The rest of those haven't even really broke ground yet, except for a couple. That's all in the Dome District. That's not counting the Brewery District, which is on fire right now. And that's not counting as you get into, UWT. UWT actually has a apartment project going up on its land by a developer. And others. I mean, there's tons of new apartment buildings going up, at least probably a dozen right now. And there's many more that's going to be going on in the future. So all of this is saying that, those who are concerned about parking and you need quick access to get to where you got to go, I would say scooter is going to be your option, especially as parking's more challenging. The streets are becoming more crowded. I could definitely see that. Anyhow, tell me what your thoughts are. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. There are other projects that are going to happen in Tacoma which are going to really elevate downtown quite a bit in terms of just wealth. There's going to be projects where condos, $1 million condos, are going in relatively soon as well. So that's still a piece away, and that's going to also add some retail space as well. But anyhow, tell me what your thoughts are. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.